Hey everybody, it's Duffy, and you're in a land speed racing edition of Bike Week Nation.
Excellent.
Tonight's show is going to be a little different. I talk a lot about land speed racing on the show, so tonight I figured I would explain what land speed racing is and how I got involved in it. I first was exposed to land speed racing back in the mid-70s. I was watching The Wide World of Sports. It was really all there was on Saturday afternoons when you're a kid like me. And I watched Craig Breedlove battle a British team to try and break the speed of sound at the Bonneville Salt Flats. And they went back and forth, and eventually Breedlove lost and the Brits won. But I was really, really impressed with his tenacity, and I was just fascinated by this concept of going really, really fast and intrigued by this place, the Bonneville Salt Flats. And so fast forward 40 odd years, and I rekindled in my early 50s, I rekindled my passion for motorcycles. And so I started going to the Laconia Motorcycle Week rally, and that is kind of how this show started. And through that, I met Jay Allen. He was running a bar called the Broken Spoke up there during Motorcycle Week, and it turns out that Jay Allen is one of the top land speed racers in the world. So of course I'm talking to him, and I tell him my Craig Breedlove story, and he convinced me that I should go to Bonneville. And I said, I don't have a racing motorcycle. I don't have the money, yada, yada, yada. And he was like, no, just go. He goes, they have a Ride What You Brung competition. You can go there, bring whatever motorcycle you want, and as long as it passes safety inspection, you can run it on the salt, and they'll give you an official time. So I decided that I was going to do that. And over the winter, I decided I was going to build the bike that my best friend had, that my parents would let me have, a 1976 Harley Davidson dirt bike. Back then, for a couple of years, back in the AMC years, they partnered with AMC partnered with Aermacchi to make some dirt bikes. They weren't really good dirt bikes, but I thought they were cool as hell. I mean, it was a Harley Davidson, and it was the only Harley Davidson I could ride when I was 12 years old. So I started buying the pieces to the motorcycle, and I had an accident, and I couldn't finish building it. And so I told my buddy John Turner, who coincidentally was at that point now running the High Octane Saloon, which used to be the Broken Spoke up in Laconia. So John Turner, coincidentally, has a 1975 Harley Davidson dirt bike. And he said, well, why don't you take my bike to Laconia? Why don't you take my bike to the Bonneville Salt Flats, and I'll meet you out there. So that's what we did. I drove his bike out to Bonneville, had a really, really great time, and we just, I fell in love with the place, and I realized, that there was a place for me in Bonneville, and, it really doesn't matter there. You can, they race everything from 50 cc's up to streamliners there, and I realized that, there was a class for me. I mean, I believe it was back in the mid-30s, the Southern California Timing Association started creating classifications there. And they have all sorts of different classes, including a production class. And that's what I decided. I was like, well, hell, I realized that my old Harley Davidson was going to do it, but I was like, I can set a land speed record, right? So I went up to the guy who's had the record for 10 years, and I said, hey, could you give me some pointers? And he said he was retiring and asked me if I wanted to buy his motorcycle. So I did. I don't know anything about motorcycles. I don't know how to make them go faster, but I figured my friend Dan DeSorbo, he knows a lot about motorcycles, and I figured he agreed to fix, to work on the motorcycle with me, and I figured if I could just get lighter and Dan could get the motorcycle to go faster, I could have a land speed record. No, it's never that easy, is it? So every Wednesday night I'd hang out with Dan at his shop, and we'd drink beer, we'd talk about motorcycles, and he would work on the motorcycle, get it in tip-top shape, and teach me a little bit about the motorcycle, because I really didn't know anything. I was mechanically challenged. So, and then as we got closer to the Bonneville Motorcycle Speed Trials, I started working out. I stopped drinking. Well, I didn't stop drinking, but I cut down on my drinking. Started, exercising, getting on the bike, working out really hard, trying to lose weight. I was in tip-top shape. A week before the Bonneville Motorcycle Speed Trials, they were canceled because the track was flooded and destroyed. So I couldn't go. I had another year that I had to wait. So another year hanging out with Dan, working on the motorcycle. He did a great job. Motorcycle's in tip-top shape this year. And I was doing everything I could to get into shape. I was lifting weights. I was even jogging while I mowed the lawn, and I was, riding the bike. And so I was all ready to go. Packed up the van, and we're about 17 hours into the trip with my wife, Amanda, and find out that the race is canceled again. So I decide to go up to Maine. And they have an event up there, the Loring Speed Trials, that they do land speed racing at a former Air Force base in Maine. And they have a 2-mile long runway. And land speed racing is, it's not, in Bonneville, it's a little different than Loring. In Bonneville, the land speed racing is, it's not like drag racing, right? Where it's a quarter mile and it's really fast and then it's over. You have about a mile or so to get up to speed, and then there's a measured mile. And then if you set a record, you have to come back and do it in the other direction, just in case there was any wind helping you. And so your time out in Bonneville is the average of the 2 miles, right? It's not your top speed. It's your average speed for those 2 runs. And that's how they do land speed records. I went to Loring this year. It was great. Met a lot of great people, and met a group of people. I met 2 people who were trying to set the tandem motorcycle record. And ironically, the record was, they say you don't own land speed records. You just get to borrow them. And the tandem motorcycle record was held by Andy Sills and Aaron Sills, who are both sort of legendary Bonneville motorcycle racers. And they set the record out in Bonneville. And it's interesting, they did, in Bonneville you do the 2 runs, 1 run over and 1 run back. And they switched. On 1 run, Aaron was in the front, and the other run, Andy Sills was in the back. So on 1 run, Aaron was in the front, and on the other run, Andy was in the front. So really interesting, kind of a legendary people. Aaron Sills is still one of the top land speed racers in the world. Really, just an incredible force in land speed racing. Her husband, Andy, unfortunately was he suffered a fatal medical condition while he was riding, and so he's no longer with us. But Aaron is still racing. So I met a couple at the Loring Speed Trials, and they were there trying to break Andy and Aaron's land speed record. So this is a little video about this couple that I think, I'm not sure how they're going to judge it, but it seemed like they were the fastest. They set the record. So I don't know how Guinness and however they determine that, but here's a little segment on 2 folks setting the tandem motorcycle record at the Loring Speed Trials up in Maine.
So we are proud to say that we have officially beaten the Guinness World Record for fastest speed on a tandem motorcycle.
Long shutdown is clear. Long shutdown is clear. Set 4, 2, 1.
representing James McDonough and his girlfriend who isn't here, Erica Marino, is setting the absolute world land speed record for two-up riding. They set that at 188.923 about an hour ago here at the Loring Timing Association.
And how many kilometers is that?
300 and something.
Okay.
302, 303.
Two up absolute world record.
188.9?
188.9.
Okay.
So congratulations, we did it. We did it. Cool. So we are at the Loring Timing Association land speed event in Limestone, Maine. We are officially, myself and Erica officially broke the land speed record for fastest tandem motorcycle, which we're very proud about. We did 2 runs, both on video, both will be included, and got my ZX14R 2 months ago for the purpose of breaking this record. Put an exhaust on it and a tune on it, and that's about it. Yesterday we were faced with 13-mile-an-hour headwinds, very tough to beat. We were right at the edge of the limit, the record, and today proud to say that we crushed the record and did very well.
What was it like sitting in the back of a motorcycle that fast?
I was holding on for dear life, literally.
All right. Anything else?
No, we're happy to be here. We want to thank everyone at the Loring Timing Association. Tim, Joe, Tom, everyone's been great. Cliff and his wife. Got great footage, met a lot of great people, and definitely made some lifelong friends, and we'll be back next year for sure to break it again.
Boy, you are very cute. And I had a couple good runs up to the Loring. Had a really good time up there. The record is 66 miles an hour for my class. I am running a production vintage class motorcycle. So that's a production motorcycle that's made before 1981. And the current world record for that is 66 miles an hour. And I did about 74 in Loring. So I have a Loring speed trial record, but for it to be an official world record, you have to do it in Bonneville because they have a team of mechanics there from the AMA and the International Federation of Motorcycles. And if you get a record there, they take your motorcycle apart, to make sure it is a 175cc. So I'll be traveling out to Bonneville again this summer, as long as it doesn't flood. So that's a little bit about land speed racing. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Gonna leave the show with a little time-lapse video I did. Normally it's about a half-hour drive from the Bonneville Salt Flats to the Motel 6 in Wendover, Utah, where I stay. But this one's about a minute long, so I figured I'd give you guys a look at the ride from the Salt Flats to my hotel. And that's it. Duff out. I'll see you next month.
our whole niche has been basically making comfortable products. We focus a lot on ventilation, we focus a lot on custom made, but we focus a lot on made to measure for particular uses.